Now, I believe you didn't have any formal vocal training as a youngster. How did you discover you had this mighty voice?
Oh, God, I've been singing since I was like 2.5 or 3. I was entertaining from the crib. I used to sing, oh, gosh, what did I sing? Good Night, Irene, an old Woody Guthrie song. And I knew like 5 verses before I was 3. So I've been singing and dancing and being a little entertainer since I was just a wee little kid.
Can you remember a time when it got that serious that it began to become obvious to you that you wanted to sing for a living?
Oh, yeah, when I was about in 2nd grade. I would always want to perform in school stuff, and I started singing professionally when I was about 11. Sat in with some band at an armory, like a Grange Hall. I don't know what you'd call them there. Some sort of like a clubhouse. Mm-hmm. And at schools and stuff like that. And then, and colleges. And I've been singing ever since. Haven't stopped once.
Were you always a confident performer? You never went through that initial stage fright?
No, I never got stage fright. I just could hardly wait. It's great fun. I mean, it's just what a feeling.
And how did you work as a session singer come about? When was your first professional engagement there?
Where at? Excuse me?
Your first session as a session singer?
My first was a demo that I was putting out, a demonstration. I lived in Washington State, and I went with my band that I was with for about 5 years, called The Unusuals, and we went to San Francisco and saved our money and did a demo, a song called It Looks Like the Summer Is Over. It was an old Dusty Springfield song. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been a Burt Bacharach's written song. And we recorded that, and Bobby Shad, this from the old payola days, my God, was with Mainstream Records. I think Big Brother and the Holding Company were on that, the first album. Yeah, it was Mainstream Records. And they wanted to release it. Of course, it was a huge rip-off, but we got some airplay and, started the ball rolling. I'm getting used to getting ripped off. So that was that. And that was my own personal session. And then, God, the second one... Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. It was with Ike and Tina Turner.
Okay.
That was when I was about 20. And then Big Brother and the Holding Company, and that was when I was about 20. And then I just started, hooking up with all these people because of Claudia Lanier, who was in the Ikettes with Ike and Tina Turner. And she had gotten out of the Ike and Tina band and went on the road with Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and hooked me up with that and introduced me to everybody. Got on that. And Leon Russell and the Shelter People. And that's a large family. They once had a family tree in the Rolling Stone of who's who and why. Different musicians and their singer girlfriends or their husband producers or whatever. There's this huge family tree, and I'm in there hooked up with Delaney and Bonnie and Joe Cocker and Rolling Stones and Leon Russell, of course, Long John Baldry. Been with Long John Baldry over 30 years. And we had a hit of You've Lost That Loving Feeling. I think it was for 10 or 12 weeks in Australia.
That's correct, yeah.
EMI Capital. And I never did get to go. We fooled around and, played around Canada and the U.S. and stuff like that. And then he went about 3 years ago with some guitar player named Widgeon, some metal guitar player. It didn't work out so well. A blues man, a blues legend with a heavy rock guitar player was just
mismatch.
Didn't match up nicely.
Yeah.
So he was angry he didn't get to take me, but it was not in the budget. John went over with the other band. So, sing for hire and all that stuff.
The Mad Dogs and the Englishmen tour must have been an exciting time. Do you have any standout memories of that?
I was just on bits and pieces of it, like San Francisco and a bit of L.A. It was just great fun to have they traveled before tour buses. It was a school bus, a yellow was a yellow school bus, and there was one road manager named Sherman. The poor man was black, and he got thinner and more nervous by every day, because we'd go rolling through a McDonald's. He'd go, 39 cheeseburgers with 14 orders of fries, 10 without salt. You know, it was just insane. And he had to pay mine to everybody. And it was pretty wild, but in a good, clean way.
Yeah.
And everybody just really liked each other, and the music was just so great.
Did you go on the road with Ike and Tina as well?
I was a studio Ikeette, and I went back and forth to Vegas with them all the time to write songs and stuff like that. But I was on the Come Together album. It's me and Tina being the Ikeettes. The Ikeettes they didn't use for stage stuff. They used me and Tina, and so we double our vocals, and we did Come Together and Honky Tonk Women, and it was great fun. Except for, the live stuff, of course, they used the girls, because they were just great looking and great dancers, and it was a great stage performance, but they weren't too keen on the studio, the girls. They liked to move about.
Now, you also spent some time in front of Big Brother and the Holding Company after Janis. Obviously, big shoes to fill.
During and after, because she was in and out, and I did 2 albums, Be a Brother and How Hard It Is. And it was real fun. In fact, they were just in town at the Experience Music Project, the Hendrix Museum here in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And they were here about a month and a half, and Peter, the bass player, called me and said, would you come down and, support us? I said, oh, yeah, I'll come down, bring a bunch of friends. And I ended up going up, and I'd never sung any of Janis songs. But for some reason, they had me come up and sing Ball and Chain, and people fell about. They liked it. They just thought it was great. I was like, oh, God, I've not done this song ever. So I just kind of made up what I didn't know. And it was great fun, just wonderful fun.
Back at that time, though, did you feel a bit of a pressure on you to have to follow Janis's act?
Yeah, and I still do, because I hate it when people go, can you do a Janis song? And I have a great answer for that. I said, we both do the same thing. We rip off dead black people's fabulous blues songs and steal them for ourselves. And it's very true.
Yeah.
Ball and Chain was written, of course, by Big Mama Willie Mae Thornton, who wrote You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog and many other hits.
Now, another legendary session you worked on, of course, was Exile on Main Street with the Stones.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun, because I thought, oh, God. I feel so privileged, and I was flown there. I lived in San Francisco, well, out in Marin County, actually, and flown there, and I thought for sure I'd be singing to just, it was reel-to-reel then, just tapes, or with a bunch of other girls, and it wasn't. It was with Mick and Keith, and what nice people. How kind. Just none of this, okay, we're done, now you go. It's just stay for a week. Here's, and here's my private phone number if you're lonesome or if you want to go out and about. Went out to the clubs with Keith, and what a nice person. What a fun person. Can he drink? my God.
Is it difficult? Is it difficult for you sometimes to keep track of all the sessions you've done over years? Do you find yourself sometimes coming across records that you'd forgotten that you sang on?
Oh, never.
No?
No, I have a memory like an elephant. I know all. I lived through the '60s, and there's a saying: if you remember the '60s, you really weren't there.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I remember every single thing, and way too much. I remember.
More than you care to.
Really. Secret stuff. But it's all in good fun.
Yeah. By the time you got around to recording a solo album, were you pretty keen to perhaps break away from that session singer label?
I've always loved sessions. I still love sessions. And I went in, the way I got my recording contract was I put my name up on the wall at some studios, like Wally Hyder Studio, and it was way before the record plant, in San Francisco. And Nils Lofgren, who played in Neil Young and Crazy Horse, of course, had his first solo album, Grin. He's got Nils Lofgren, and then he had a band called Grin, which was him and his brother, his 2 friends, one a cousin, I believe. And there was an album, it was called All Out. It's a picture of this mouth, and you open it, it's this set of teeth, and you open the flap of the LP, and it's all the teeth are out, and it's called All Out.
That's the one. I was just listening to it yesterday, actually.
Oh, God, yeah, that was my first thing. And then his manager, Art Linson, who is now in doing movies and Scary Movie and all that stuff, he's quite a famous producer. He said, how would you like your own recording contract? I went, here, I'm right here. Here I am. So we started that just a few weeks later. It was just amazing. I went with Capitol Records. It was first called Spin Dizzy Records, and then I went to Capitol Records. So I was very lucky and did all kinds of things like Kiss opened for me, Leo Sayer opened for me, Bob Seger opened for me. We all went out on the road together, and I was in the same stable, as you'd call it, as Grand Funk Railroad. Nice bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And Ringo Starr, and who else? Oh, God, Badfinger. Geez, so many groups. If I really sat down, I could remember them.
Did you say Kiss opened for you?
Pardon? Yes.
That must have been an experience.
Georgia. I couldn't believe that one. I mean, my God, of course, they're hugely famous now, and I still have to get out there and scramble for a living. But it makes you remain humble. You just don't forget.
No.
Everybody's got to start all over at all times.
That's right. Now, you mentioned your association with Long John Baldry, 30 years now.
Yeah.
That must be one of your most satisfying partnerships.
I just adore him. He's my mentor. He's my best friend. I mean, we're so mental when we go out on the road. A road trip for us is just no problem. We have fun. He times himself doing the crosswords in the vans or the trains or whatever. He's not fond of air travel. I'll tell you that. I've heard him scream. He's got to be calmed right down, but he loves trains and buses. And so we just basically have a little picnic in the back and read magazines and read the National Enquirer back and forth in different accents. And we're just stupid. We just really have a good time. And the occasional beer is had. A few.
Just occasional.
Of course, it's always on a day off. Because, we just, okay, drivers, stay up front and stay sober. We'll be changing the music. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. So we just sit back there and laugh. And that guy's got so many stories. I mean, my stomach aches from laughing. I mean, he's the most brilliant person I've ever met, just quick-witted, and doesn't forget a thing. He's the type that says, oh, Fleetwood Mac, I'll never forget July the 10th at 9:15 when I wore my green suit and I ate this kind of cheese. I mean, the guy remembers everything. There's nothing that stumps him. Got nothing on him, and he's writing his true life story now, and he says, oh, God, I've got volumes. I said, will there be anything on me? He goes, a whole nother book. So we know each other very well.
Maybe they'll turn into a movie.
Oh, good Lord. He says he's frightened to say some things because he could be killed. There's people still alive out there. That's the frightening thing.
Which has been more comfortable to you over the years, in that supporting role, providing backup, or being up front of your own bands?
Both. I like switching off because the voice is an instrument, but the strings cannot be changed. You've got to take care of your voice. And if you out-sing yourself all the time. It's fun being with John because we take turns and then we sing duets together, and or I'll go out on my own as a support group for him. And I try to keep it down to 2 sets because I used to do 6 sets a night, 6 nights a week, and I blew my voice out in 1969 and had to have an operation for the nodules, or whatever you call them. Mm-hmm. And I'll never do that again. And you have to learn how to sing, how to breathe, but no lessons. It was just therapy was, holding a note without. I can hit about 4 octaves at this point. I get a note lower and a note higher every year, and people would think it would get not so good. It gets better and more strong.
I've been able to learn a lot over the years from the artists that you've supported, in terms of.
Of course you do. You get little nuances and how to move on stage and what not to do. My favorite is finding out what not to do. When you see somebody else go through the motions of making an idiot of themselves, you go, okay, here's a list of things not to do, and that's at the top. And things not to wear. Oh, God, because it's great fun to dress up, and everybody should dress for the part, because people pay. It's too hard in this world anymore. People have very little money, and if they're going to pay to see you, make them have something to see and behave yourself on that stage.
Yeah. Now, a long gap between albums till you started recording again in the 90s. That must have been a great feeling to get back into the studio.
Yeah, I love it. I love the studio. The headphones are my best friends. I love stacking my own vocals. I like to put like six and eight parts and choirs, and I just love it. I love doing that. A lot of people, a lot of these younger bands around here in Seattle will hire me to do a couple cuts, and I'll just go, God, can I stack my vocals? And we know you love that, so you go right ahead on. So it's just great fun, because I love harmonizing with myself. And I'm the only person, so if you have like 5 women singers, somebody has to go to the restroom at a different time. Somebody's thirsty at a different time. No one agrees on the note that they're going to have, so I just work with myself. I'm a choir of many. And it's such great fun. It's so satisfying to hear all the voices, and they're all yours, and everything's right. And there's no one to argue with. Because I'm always right.
So no need to argue.
I mean.
Yeah. I believe there's a new album in the works. What can you tell us about that so far?
It's called Back and Blue. Not Black and Blue. Back and Blue. And Nick Gravenitis did the production of this. He wrote Born in Chicago. He was with Paul Butterfield Blues Band for years, the Electric Flag for years. He's an incredible Chicago white Greek blues man, Nick Gravenitis. And I've got, my rhythm section was Mariah Carey's rhythm section. The drummer, the guitar player, and the bass player. Incredible players, one-take wizards. And then a whole lot of other people, old friends came in and did things as favors, like, over Jorma Kaukonen's brother, Peter Kaukonen. Jorma Kaukonen from Jefferson Airplane and the Hot Tuna. His brother plays beautiful acoustic and came on and played on a few songs. And I really like this one. I like the selections that have been made, and some of the stuff that I'd written and stuff like that is about 4 or 5 songs that I've written are on it. So I'm getting into writing a whole lot more, because there's a lot more to say. A good broken heart, my God, you can get a couple albums out of that. If you're too happy, if you're too damn happy, you can't write a good song. It's just impossible, because your mind wanders because you're too happy.
Yeah.
Just a problem or two, and everything comes out more real, more soulful.
I believe there's some major label interest too in the album.
I am hoping they're shopping that, and I don't want to put a jinx on it. They're shopping it, and they hope to come up with some good news by the new year, and you'll be the first one to know.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. That would be wonderful.
It's done. It's finishing up the packaging and doing all that, and I want to present it. I don't want it to be shopped as. Gone are the days when you bring a reel-to-reel tape or a cassette around. They want to see the full product.
Yeah, yep.
And then they're all delighted with, like, instead of, what's she look like? What's happening? What are the words? So everything's going to be all prepared. Now,
there's I've got a double live CD that you recently released. Is that a typical example of your live shows?
That was pretty much, a little of this, a little of that, blues. That was done in Toronto at Albert's Hall. That was done about 10 years ago, but I found the tape. I always like to be taped straight off the board at clubs, and it was one of those where I'd been on the road for like 8 weeks, and it was the last week, and you're going to miss everybody, and you've been traveling with everybody, and it was the last night, and it was just, everything was perfect. And I found the tape, less than a year ago in my packings. And because I hate it when people don't put labels on. So I'm playing these tapes to see if I should tape over them. And I found this one. I went, God, this is perfect. And I found the other one, and it's this side's perfect too. I think I'll put this on disc, and people love it.
Yeah.
Good one.
How much of your time is spent performing live these days, and divided between session work?
Couple days a week.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, there's something you're involved with, or have been involved with, called the Seattle Women in R&B.
Yes.
What's that all about?
I'm with Detroit Women in R&B now. It was a group of like frontline women, like women with their own bands, and we all got together on the stage at the same time. Let's say one steps forward to sing a song, the other are the backup singers. She moves over, the next one, you get the drift.
Oh, yeah.
The domino effect. Everybody sings a couple songs each night, and everybody backs them up with this huge choir, and a 5-man group of musicians, the best musicians in Seattle. Well, now the lady Kathy Hart, who invented this and copyrighted the name and everything, went back to Detroit from whence she came. And I'm leaving December 18th till January 5th to go work with Detroit Women in R&B.
Fantastic.
And God, it's just incredible musicians. Musicians from Detroit just do not fool around. Not that they do in Seattle, but it's more of a living for them. They work every single night.
Yeah.
And we do weekends because, we're in Seattle. It's Microsoft City, Starbucks City, Boeing. So people have day jobs because they pay well, but Detroit musicians work 24/7 at their music.
Yeah.
And it really, really shows. They live it, eat it, and breathe it.
Hardcore musicians.
Really. Oh,
yeah.
Totally. It's their lives. It's not like on the weekends I'm not a weekend musician. Every single night. And we're not doing that, writing songs and rehearsing. It's pretty great. I love playing with them. In fact, we released a little CD. I should send you one of those. I just got one in the mail the other day of our live show, and you'll get my drift of how it goes. Because it's a wonderful group of girls. There's 9 of us up front. All different colors, creeds, sizes, forms, shapes, from ghettos, from rich families, religious to non-religious to whatever. It's just all so wonderful, and we all get along. It's like a party all the time. Just, what are you going to wear? What are you going to do? Can I wear this? Can I use these earrings? What song are you going to sing? Should I sing this part? I mean, everybody likes each other, and that's hard to come by these days. Everybody authentically can hardly wait to get there, to sit and eat together, and then go and perform, and we have a ball.
Sounds like a very spontaneous type of show, is it?
Oh, yes, it is. It moves right along. My God, it's just perfect. So we're booked right up. And I'm delighted about that because I love working with other women. It's great fun. There's just no ego there. All the egos are checked at the door because we're all stars in our own right. And we do our own songs that we write and cover really wonderful songs. And I'll always do I'd Rather Go Blind. I've done that with every band since I was, 13 years old. So it's my very favorite. And I think that might be on the copy that you were sent.
Terrific. Now, I believe away from music, you're also a fully qualified chef.
Oh, pardon me?
I read up on you saying that you're a fully qualified chef away from music.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to school for culinary arts. I cook for myself because the stress is too much. And I love, I can cook for the masses. I learned to cook something from nothing at school. I went for about a year, and I've got the credentials to work in a restaurant, but my God, you want to hang yourself by the end of a day at some of these restaurants. And I wouldn't want to be a line cook at I don't know if you have Denny's out there.
Yes, yep.
Okay, see? Bad things die hard. Well, they can't mess up an egg.
Yeah.
I would hate to get 15 orders at once with everybody screaming and children screaming. I think I'd go mental. More mental, I mean.
Is there a comparison there in the satisfaction you get from a good recording session or a fantastic gig to creating an amazing meal? Is it a similar buzz?
Yeah. Actually, you got your presentation, you've got your ingredients, that's your band members, your presentation, what you wear and how you act. And it's all a cause and effect. It takes hours to create something good, like a Thanksgiving meal, 20 minutes to eat it and clean it up. So, excuse me. It's very cold, much cold season here.
Is it? And just as we finish up, Kathi, what are your plans for the upcoming year?
Well, after I get back from Detroit, working with my own band here in Seattle, and getting this record out. And like I say, you'll be sent one immediately, and I'm real proud of it. So my concentration will be on the new product and moving about, hopefully getting myself over to Australia.
That would be good.
Very nice. We've
got some fantastic blues festivals down here, which you would just fit in beautifully.
I have heard, and I heard your beaches are white and beautiful.
They are. They certainly are. We're proud of them.
I'm pleased with that. Great. Yep. So that's my plan, to get this new CD moving and get myself spread a little more thin, so I can get around the world. I've done a lot of work in Germany and stuff like that. I do well there. California, East Coast, but never been to Australia or New Zealand, never.
Well, let's hope we can make it happen. Maybe the new record will be just the ticket to get you down here.
Oh, I get ticket. That's the operative word. Got the frequent flyer points, my goodness. Can't quite get that many.
All right, Kathi, well, thanks so much for your time. We'll look forward to the new CD, and we'll keep our fingers crossed we can get you down here. It'll be fantastic. We'll get you in the studio if we can and do it live.
Thank you very, very, very much, and it's been a real treat. What time is it there?
It's Friday morning, 9:45.
Oh, God. It's Thursday, 2:41.
Yeah.
In the afternoon. Okay. Well, I'm happy that you called, and any time.
Okay, we'll stay in touch.
All right.
Thanks, Kathi.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.